Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Yeah, things are good here.
That's great. That's awesome.
Sledge hockey.
Sledge. Oh, yeah. Sledge hockey. Sledge hockey. Well, okay, wait. Before we get things started, is it sledge hockey or is it sled hockey? Because I remember that there was a lot of sled or sledge hockey. So, what is it?
Yeah, this is actually an interesting debate. So officially, it is now para ice hockey, which is just a more inclusive term because it's very much like stand-up hockey. But in the US, it people call it sled hockey, and in Canada, they tend to call it sledge hockey.
Okay. Also, I think it's really funny to bring up the fact that for the first couple of weeks, you referred to yourself. Well, how do you refer to yourself? Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Oh my goodness. My name is Maggie.
That's weird because your name says Maggie with an A.
Sorry, I'm Canadian. What do you want?
We were really confused in the very beginning when you introduced yourself as Meggie, and then we were like, "Oh, hey Meggie," and then we saw that it was spelled Maggie's.
Yeah, so funny. It's funny because my mom's from the US, and so she says it correctly, and it gets on her nerves when I'm like, "Yeah, my name's Maggie," and I don't even notice it, to be honest. But it's funny because all my friends say the same thing.
All right, well, welcome to All Round Champion interviews. I'm here with Maggie Manning, Woo! And
Yeah,
today we will be deep diving into what episode is it now? 5?
five.
Episode 5, Sled Hockey, where you were the coach. So, let's get started.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I have a little bit more energy now because well, I don't know. I feel kind of tired. It's 6:27 right now, and I usually do these interviews in the morning. So,
Man, you
I wonder what happened
grinding.
to that. What happened to our previous time?
I needed a nap.
That's fine. Okay, let's get things started. So just to, well, okay, I didn't even ask you. How's stuff back home? How's school?
Things are really good. Yeah, I'm back in school. I'm in my last didactic year of respiratory therapy. So in June, I start working in the hospitals, which is insane. I can't believe it. Um, yeah, it's been super. It was weird transitioning back from like show life into literally 2 days later, like school and real life, and you got to do everything by yourself. But it was really great. My friends have been awesome, and it's been really cool to share this experience with them.
Yeah, and there was actually a handful of us that actually started school like online during the end of like the show.
Yeah, because the US schools tend to start a little bit earlier than the Canadian schools. So there was a lot of people who started studying. And I mean, I was still in courses over the summer, so I was doing it throughout the filming, but there was a lot of people who started like their full high school course load during filming, which is insane.
Yeah, and I bet throughout your life you've had experience in the hospital, is that correct?
Yeah, I have definitely.
Yeah, so that's really great that you're able to work there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's so nice to like be able to, I think for me, the biggest thing is to be able to give back for what I've received because I've had 12 surgeries. So I've spent a good chunk of time there and to be able to be on the other side now and support families through that would is I'm super excited.
Awesome. Look at that, you're wearing your all-around merch. So am
Oh,
I.
always.
This
Yeah.
is the official competition wear. It's a
I'm
little bit
so
big without a
jealous. I want
sweater.
so badly.
Oh, and guess what?
What? Oh, there'd be. Oh, is that a signature from Billy Bridges?
The Billy
Oh,
Bridges.
no way. Too cool.
So
Famous.
all right, let's get started with the questions now. Here we go. First off, how was being on the show?
Being on the show was a very unique experience, and it's nothing like anything I've ever experienced before. I honestly had no expectations going into it because I had no idea what to expect. It was overall a really good experience. There were definitely with highs and lows, and most of that just came with like accessibility type issues. But overall, I had a really great experience, and I loved living with the fellow athletes and honestly, it was so much fun.
That's yeah, I agree. I agree with everything that you just said. Just great experience, great meeting everybody, super fun.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So how are you liking the show so far? Up to the fifth episode.
I think I'm gonna say exactly what everybody else has said. I really like it. I think that there was a little bit of hesitation of we were like, I don't know how we're all gonna be portrayed, but now that it's out and there's like not as much anticipation, it's really cool to see how everybody's portrayed because I think it's really accurate. The one thing though is that so much stuff is cut. But also you think about it and you think, well, we filmed for like 4 days straight, like very, very long days, and then they cut that down to like 52 minutes. So obviously there's a lot of stuff gets cut.
Yeah, and I noticed that your episode's actually 53 minutes, by the way.
Oh,
Mm.
oh, thriving.
So yeah, about being cut. No, did it they cut out something in the video or in the episode, right?
Did they?
Yeah,
Oh,
didn't
yes,
they?
they did.
Yeah,
We
they
had a full
did.
game. I'm like, I don't know what happened that week. I was frozen, but no, they totally did. We actually did have a whole scrimmage, and I thought it was interesting because that was completely cut out, but that was hilarious because we were all goofing around and having so much fun. But ultimately, again, like they have to cut something. The thing I thought that was cool is they did kind of like a montage of everybody training, and some of the
Mhm.
clips from the scrimmage were in there, so it did get kind of put in, just not the whole scrimmage game thing.
Yeah, kind of just like B-roll footage. But yeah, it was just really great. I really liked it. I really liked this whole week. Actually, it was like really fun. All the things that we did, and it kind of just like blended together really well.
Yeah, it was really upbeat this week, I thought. I really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was hilarious. Like the wigs that they had, I was dying.
Mm-hmm.
It was so
Yeah,
funny. Like
it was.
the game show just ran randomly in the middle of the show. It was like, oh, game show time. And I thought it was hilarious because then at the very, very end, spoiler alert, Lily's like wearing the wig. And I'm like, of course she is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great. It was really fun. It was nice to just get on the court and just kind of cool off
Yeah.
after the
Yeah.
other episodes. So
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Yeah. It was interesting because I was the only winter sport. So it was a very different transition from like all these summer sport type situations into like this very like cold sport.
Let's get things started now with questions about your episode and personal stuff about you.
Ooh.
So in your bio shoot, this one kind of just like, oh, interesting. Your coach mentions that you actually did stand-up hockey. So what was kind of the transition between that and sled hockey?
Yeah, so I want to say it's a pretty unique experience just because I played stand-up hockey and ringette, which was like kind of the main sport that I did, and I played goalie, and I played for 8 years and at a really high level. So I actually played rep and was asked to play for different teams in the Canadian Championships, and it was my passion. It was my whole life. That's the thing that drove me. But then as I had to start having surgeries again and going through treatment, I my disability developed further and I was unable to continue it just because it was so hard on my hips, and especially being a goalie, which was my passion. It's like a lot of like splits and weird positions and very high impact, and it was just not meant to preserve my legs and the function that I did have. And so I transitioned into para swimming, which was low impact, and I did that for a long time at a high level and I loved it, but it just wasn't my passion. And then I was went to university and I found that I was just burnt out of swimming and didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I still love the sports because I've always been in it. And I reached out to the local adaptive community and I was like, hey, like, I saw that they had sledge hockey and I was like, can I come out to give it a try? And literally the first second I was on the ice, I knew I was back home.
Wow. That was I don't know what to say to that. That's just awesome. That's just really great.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um
it's so awesome because I kind of felt like there was this little piece of me missing that I had always played this sport up until I was like, I mean, I started when I was 5 and I didn't stop until I was like 12, 13. And yeah, there was breaks in between for surgeries, but I mean, my passion was being on the ice and I wasn't able to do that anymore. So I was able to find that again, which was a huge turning point in my life.
Yeah, just really great starting off with a sport really young. And when you start off with sports really young, you want to like start off with a lot of sports and kind of
Yeah.
ease your way into it. And that's exactly what you did with sled hockey. Like you branched out with swimming, but you just stayed with the hockey and like switching, just like still staying through that was just that's just really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool, and I think that it's a very unique experience just because I mean, there's kind of two very broad categories of disability. There's like the people who've been injured and who have had very sudden from able-bodied to disabled, and there's like the people who have had kind of disability their whole life, and I more fall into that category. Although I was very able-bodied until I was in my early teens, so that transition was very tough. And I mean, the teens are already not the best time for most people, so you know how it goes.
So in your bio shoot, you mentioned that you are that you want to advocate for disability all around with the parasport community. And I noticed that throughout the whole show, and I've noticed that in person, just hearing you and just spending time with you. Like I completely agree with that. But like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I was really thankful that they did include that in my bio sheet just because the advocate part of myself is such an important part. And I really do think that that's what defines me as a person. And for me, I identify with my disability and I want to be able to share that experience with others because I know growing up, there was not really somebody who I was able to be like a role model type situation and look up to and understand that it's okay to have a disability and like you can overcome it. And it really doesn't mean anything other than you might have to do a few things differently. And so to be able to be that person and share that is beyond incredible. And I think that one of the things that I said on the show is if I can reach out to one person and inspire them to, get involved or to just really be more comfortable in their selves and their disability. And I didn't know how I was going to measure that because obviously there's no way to just know that you've kind of like impacted someone. But I've actually had a couple of people reach out on Instagram and we've chatted a lot. And that was like really impactful for me just because I've been able to see that the work that we've done, not only through my advocacy work, but also through all around champion and advocating on that show as well, has it's reached a large population of people.
That's really sweet. That's really great that you're getting like noticed for that and that it's like what you're saying and what you're doing is showing and it's working.
Yeah, thanks. It's really cool. And like I think the one of the most unique ones is somebody reached out who has a similar condition to what I have and was like just bouncing ideas off each other, which is exactly what we do on the show. And it, you know, how do you work around this and how do you adapt to this? And yeah, it's very unique and I'm excited that we're able to reach these people.
Yeah, and now that like it's really just exposure also to the para sport as well. Now they know that there's a whole world of sports that they can get introduced to, and maybe they didn't know about a certain sport, but now they do.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think that like the para sports that are on all around champion, there's like so many more as well. Like that, this is just such a limited handful. Like they're pretty much any sport if you want to try it, there's usually an adaptive version, which is incredible because I even remember when I was growing up, half these things didn't even exist.
Oh, how the times have changed.
We're
Woo!
taking over.
All right. Okay, so let's go into vault hockey for our shoot, what they call them? Built
Basics.
basics. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, so what did you think of vault hockey for basics? And did you know about it and did you play it before?
That's hilarious. I actually did know about it because there is a Volt hockey team Canada that does go to like international competitions. Had I ever played? Absolutely not. It's funny because we always tried to predict what the basics were going to be. Like we'd be like, "Oh, this is kind of like hockey." Never did we any of us predict Volt hockey, which is hilarious.
Yeah, and the thing that's funny is the warehouse that we were in, we were really confused what was happening. We were like, what the heck?
Well, the bus just drove into the warehouse. It was
Just
like,
we're in a warehouse.
yeah, so funny. But honestly, it was a blast. Those little motorized chairs, they hauled tail. they were so fast. Like you could, and then you would just spin in circles, and yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah, and then there was settings. There was like a 5 speed modes, and they recommended us to be like 3 max. And like
Yeah,
they're
you
like,
were like, don't
no,
do five.
we'll
All
do
of us
5,
on
guys. We'll do 5. We all just did 5.
five and had zero control.
No, yeah, because going forward you had no control because there was a pivot in the front, but going backwards you had more control, obviously.
Do you remember how many balls we went through, like the little wiffle balls?
Oh my
They,
gosh. No. Okay, not okay. So the wiffle balls, like they were like tiny, but they're wiffle like plastic wiffle balls. So we actually destroyed them. We went through like I think 5 of them.
yeah, we went through so many, and then it was just, I thought that was gonna be on the show, and it wasn't. I was like, oh my gosh, if only these people knew how many of those we destroyed.
And then the court that we were in were like just like little dividers, and we would run into them, and oh my gosh, that was fun. That was good.
It's pure chaos.
Yeah, I think everyone really enjoyed it, and that was just a really great day because that was all we did that day was just the vault hockey. Like that was great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right, so oh man, that's a big jump. Okay, so now we're on the first day of training, or second day, but first day of training. You know how it is. What did you think of Billy Bridgers?
Oh, Billy was so much fun. I know of him quite well just because he's a really well-known player. So to be able to coach alongside him was an honor. He was an amazing advocate and also just a hilarious guy. He was so funny, and I think that showed throughout the episode. He was super supportive, but he was also really funny and like would make fun of us and like in a totally hilarious way because you get on the ice and you think that it's going to be relatively like not easy, but it's going to be like manageable. And everybody was like belly up, like could not skate, which is what happens your first time. That's what happened to my first time as well. And it was so fun to see and to joke around with everybody.
Yeah, I really like Billy too. He always had like a smile on his face, and like he would like tease us, but like in the good way, and be like,
Yeah.
like he's the type of guy that if you were just like going around and you trip and fall on your face, he'd laugh and then he'd be like, "You good?" Like right after,
Yeah.
like oh.
And I think that's most of our sense of humor too, because we would always just like joke around about each other's disabilities and like each other's personalities and just I don't know, just like joshing around. And so to have a sports star who was also like that, it just he fit right in.
That you mentioned it. How was coaching?
Coaching was really fun. I do quite a bit of coaching at home, so it was definitely within my comfort zone to just kind of dive in and share my experiences and my tips and tricks with everybody. Um, the skills comp was so difficult. So teaching those skills on literally like your second day of learning to skate is insane. And the fact that you guys were even able to do the whole skills comp blew my mind. Um, so, but yeah, it was definitely like jumping from 1% to 100% in a matter of days. So
Yeah, and I think it's actually really cool because I think this week I noticed more that our training really reflected with the competition
yeah,
because they want us to go through the cones, not pylons, the cones. Canadians with their lingo. Um, yeah, no, making us go through the cones and then like the passing with the little goals
yeah,
and like getting the puck underneath the chair and all that kind of stuff. Just little small things that helped you, and especially in the competition.
yeah, totally. And I think that the neat thing about this episode was that everybody really put their full effort into it in order to get on that podium because I think everybody really had a shot. So that was super cool.
What did you think of the competition when you first found out about it?
When I first found out about the competition, and this is something people don't know, is that when they show us what the competition is, that literally is us finding out what the competition is. And so it was really unique to see. I mean, I think we all wanted it to be like a game, just because the sport is a game at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
but the skills are also really important. And so to find out it was a skills competition, I didn't expect it to be that extensive, like the whole passing and weaving. And honestly, it would have been hard for anybody. It doesn't matter what level you're at. So it was definitely a challenge, especially when you have only been playing for 2 or 3 days. So I think everybody really excelled, and I was surprised at the level of play that everybody was at by the end of that week.
Yeah, and I really like the week, and I just like getting in the chair. I did like I was in the chair, and I did do sled hockey for one day to like try it out, and I really liked it there. And I was kind of I think I was just really used to like how the skills worked because I play wheelchair basketball, and for practice and a lot of stuff, you do a lot of skills and drills. So I think that kind of just like helped me when it came to the
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that previous background is really important just because you know what like the team atmosphere is like, but you also understand that the skill set is the individual skill set is also just as important. So that's what's nice coming from a similar background.
Something I really want to talk about with the competition. I don't want to out him, but I think it was really funny with Dom because you know when he hit the stick on the ground, like that was just like at the time that he was just frustrated. But I think it was just really funny when he walks in to the locker room that we were all just waiting, and we all like asked him like, "Hey, how'd you do?" Because we all thought he would like we all expected him to do really good. He walks into the locker room. He's like, we asked him, "Hey, how are you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. Yeah, I'm chill." As if like he and then we were like, "Oh my god, wait, no, I think he did really good then. Oh my gosh." Because he's like all chill and cool about it. I'm like, bro, he's probably being like really humble right now. And it got us like a little bit more nervous. It was I think it was just really funny just how he reacted when we asked him about it.
That's interesting because like I obviously was on the ice watching everybody else go as well, so I didn't get to see that part. But honestly, with the whole situation, I would have been just as frustrated. I mean, some of those skills were in the moment just luck. I mean, yeah, they were skill, but with only so little training, it's like whoever is lucky enough to get it in and who's I mean, yes, the skills, like the training does come into it, but I know Dom is super fit and super athletic, and the fact that it wasn't showing on the podium was really frustrating. And I know that for the first bit of their first 4 weeks, I also was struggling with that because I know that I'm a really good athlete, but I also it wasn't showing in the results, and that's super frustrating because our whole lives were revolving around the podium and the points. And so then I do get that sentiment. I think he dealt with it really well because immediately he apologized and was like, it's frustrating. But I like that he showed his frustration because we all are there at some point, and it's very valid feeling.
We kind of talked about this a little bit before, but yeah, what did you think of the trivia?
I thought the trivia was hilarious. It's funny because we actually filmed the trivia on the same day as we filmed Volt Hockey. And the interesting thing was when we went to basics, they showed Volt Hockey, but I was expecting trivia to be there. So I use every Sunday, my friends get together and we watch the show together. And as
Mhm.
soon as basics was over, I was like, holy, they cut out like the entire trivia that I did. I was such a good
No.
host. And I was like telling them all about it. And then all of a sudden, like halfway through the episode, the trivia comes on. I was like, what? What is
I
this
loved
about?
the trivia so much. I think it was really clever. It was really cool to just have you as the host and have these like really easy questions that we can all answer. And I think it was
Easy.
just
Capitals. Tell me about
sorry.
the Capitals, Jackson.
Oh, oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. That was kind of funny though when we all like tried to guess what a capital was, and then some of us wouldn't even name like a correct capital.
It was painful.
um, well, there was easier questions that they cut out, but I think what was really funny is that I just felt bad for the other team that I was going against because Bradley just kept on pushing the button first just to push the button, and then he would like confidently just guess the answer, and it was just completely wrong.
It was funny because the buttons everybody would start pressing when I was like halfway through my sentence. And I'm like, guys, let me finish because you don't even know what the question is. And then you can answer.
And I think the reward that we got was really great. The mullets. I wish I had it still, but
I know.
I accidentally left it with the crew.
So funny. I know that was hilarious. I love that piece. And it was funny because on the bus afterwards, like Dom and Brayden, and did you also do it? They like paint the tooth.
Oh no,
Oh, right, the braces. Yeah, Dom and Brayden like painted their tooth, and so they look And they were talking a Canadian accent. It was hilarious. It's hilarious.
Something that I wanted to bring up, just to bring up to not oh wait, I just realized something. Oh my gosh. Okay, so remember when we had our teams for the scrimmage?
Yeah.
We had like teams and we had the team names and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember what they were.
Well, I do because I they wanted us as our own teams to make a logo for the teams.
Oh yeah.
Right,
I
right.
forgot
Okay.
the whole logo
So
thing.
so I don't remember who was on my team, but basically my team, we came up with USA like hyphen EH, like
Yeah.
because we had Americans and Canadians on the team, so it's USA. The other team were the rubber puckies.
And the logo.
Now, I remember showing it on screen, like during reality on the bus, and I remember we were talking about like the logos and stuff, and this feels like okay. I'm sorry, this feels selfish,
Because
but
you created both of them.
because I no okay, they wanted the teams to make them, and this feels so selfish. But yes, I did make both of them. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. I'm really proud of. Okay, so for my team, I wanted to like encapsulate like the design of like all round champion. So this is what I came up with. So it's like USA, you know,
With the puck,
and
yeah.
then but then I think this one was the best logo. The other two. Okay, ready? It's the rubber puckies. It's 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 a rubber duck face head attached to a
A
yellow
puck.
body, a puck, holding it. Look at that.
I totally forgot about those. That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh. So I just wanted to say it because in the show they wanted me to sit, they wanted it to be like the team made it, but you know. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to say. Okay, so let's move on now. How was your application process?
My application process was just like everybody else's except for yours because you were like, didn't you apply in like January or something?
Yes, I
Yeah.
applied in January.
So I actually just got the message. I got a message from Kenny, one of the casting directors on Instagram. It was like, "Hey, we're filming the show with para athletes. We think you'd be a great candidate. Why don't you look at the application and send one in?" And I was hesitant, but I did it. And I mean, I was just hesitant in that I thought it was a scam because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"There's no way. Like, this is, I don't know, kind of insane. Like, someone just messaged me on Instagram. That's really random." But yeah, it was like I think it was a Friday. I emailed them and they were like, "Oh yeah, so let's set up an interview right after the weekend." And so I interviewed like the next business day, and it was honestly insane. And then I didn't hear anything, and I didn't hear anything, and I followed up, and I just assumed that I didn't get it because I was like, well, I haven't heard anything. And they said they would have cast by now. And then, like, a week after they said that they were going to be done casting, I got a message being like, hey, can you like make a decision about being on the cast of the show? And I was shocked, honestly, because I had written it off at that point and gotten a job and I was like ready to work for the summer. And yeah,
When did you apply? What month?
in April,
In April, yeah. So, and then yeah, we found out in May, right?
beginning to mid May.
Nice. All right. So glad that you got accepted.
I'm glad too. Wouldn't have known you without it.
So that wraps up all of the questions that I had for you. Is there anything that you want to say to the viewers back at home?
The viewers back at home, I don't have anything specific, but I do have a question for you. Did you? Oh, the shock. Yes, for you. What did you think of sledge hockey?
I loved it. I loved it. I remember first hearing about it when you said it on the field. Sled hockey, I'm like, yo, that's awesome. I've done sled hockey. This is gonna be really great. I'm already used to a sport. And I love just being on the ice, and I liked how the mechanics worked. I liked how like I had to like think of ways to kind of adapt to it because of my prosthetic on my left side. So I was kind of off balance, but it was cool to like figure all that out. We ended up
Yeah.
just taping my legs together and then taping my foot onto the foot plate. And I just really liked it. I think the competition was just really great. And I loved just maneuvering all the everything and shooting. I loved shooting and being able to flick it. I
No, you
struggled.
crushed that.
Thank you. I struggled it like a little bit the day before because we were practicing it. And then once I literally it like clicked. I think Billy was like, yo, do this. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I remember just sitting there and I'm just flicking it, flicking it, flicking it. And I'm like, let's go.
Yeah,
I really like sled hockey, but I just don't know if I'll continue it. So yeah.
that's fair. Yeah. Very cool. Well, it was a lot of fun to coach you guys, and I really enjoyed my time being interviewed by you, Jackson.
Slay. Thanks so much.
Okay. Thanks, Jackson.
Okay.
See you
Thank
soon.
you. Bye, Maggie.
Bye.
Bye.